The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast. Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the match preview of the game between Leeds United and Newcastle United. In this match preview, we'll be talking about both teams, previewing the game, and also highlighting an issue around mental health as one of Newcastle United's fans, Martin Lorimer, this week succumbed to his battle with mental health. So, a little bit of a somber note, but we'll try and keep it as light and funny as normal. So my name is Adonis. You know me as the Adelites on Twitter. And joining us today is our resident Riot Badger, Alex.
Good afternoon.
And our Newcastle United fan and drink, Mike Carlin.
All right.
Do you like
Thanks for having
Mike
me.
or Michael or?
I go by Micky normally. So Micky would be.
There we go.
Micky Carlin. Micky P. Carlin. How is everybody? How are you going?
Yeah, good. We haven't spoken in a while.
No. Just yesterday.
Yep. Podcast.
Yeah, it takes over your life, doesn't it?
Aye.
Aye? Why aye?
Oh, they're just going to be terrible accents.
Started already. We can't have the normal banter with you, Micky, because I actually don't mind Newcastle. Newcastle United, Newcastle fans in general. But having said that, you did beat us a lot. And 1996, I was 10 years old and Alan Shearer was scoring goals for England. And I was very happy about that. And then as the seasons wore on, I became less and less happy with Alan Shearer as he scored loads of goals almost every time, basically.
Yeah, he always had a good time.
In death taxes and Alan Shearer scoring against Leeds. There's three things you could always count on.
Yeah, he always had a good time against Leeds. I mean, I have pretty much only good memories with Newcastle against Leeds because, like you say, we've always done well. So I don't mind yous either. Probably for that reason.
And the podcast, well done. We've won all draw.
Our listener knows quite a bit about Leeds United. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about Newcastle? Because the last thing I heard was that Rafa Benitez pissed off to China. And for all we know, he could have been the cause of coronavirus. Probably he ate a pangolin or something. And now you've got Steve Bruce, which seemed like a particularly bad idea. But
It looks like he's been bitten by a pangolin.
He's a love child of a pangolin and Mr. Blobby.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? You know, we've gone in such a short space of time, we've gone from having one of the best managers in the world to Steve Bruce, and it's just been a catastrophe. You know, that you hear about the pundits talking about Newcastle all the time at the minute. You likes of Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage and all that, who continually try and wind us up on social media as well, talking about Newcastle as if we're having a great season, and we're just not. You know, that the points on the board mask what is happening at this club massively. We've got, you know, we could, if we win on Wednesday night, we'll have 20 points from 12 games, which for Newcastle is a great return. But watching it has just been absolutely disgusting for a year and a half. It's so bad. It's so bad to watch that we're all starting to just get sick of it. You know, like we obviously have to watch the match. That's just how it works. But like I do it with resentment. Even when we win, it's not quite as good anymore. And you know, and also now we're at the point where when we win, you're just waiting for one of these prick pundits to come out and be like, told these Newcastle fans, you're wrong. But we're not wrong. You know, we're the ones that have to sit and watch it for 90 minutes every week, and it's shite.
Yeah. Oh, we've been there. We have been there. So we totally sympathise.
Yeah.
I would say at least it's happening in the Premier League. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we can't complain too much because we are in the Premier League. We're probably safe this season, which was Steve Bruce's mandate at the start of the season. But you just think for us what could have been, and I'm not even talking about the takeover, which is a whole story in itself. But if Ashley just hadn't been such a total idiot and just done what was necessary to keep Rafa Benitez as our manager, we were progressing. We were getting better. Every year was better than the last. Every year the squad was better than the last. We played defensive football, which is what we're doing now, but it was defensive football with like an intention of trying to score at some point and trying to win the game. Whereas now it's just like, get everyone you can behind the ball and maybe something will happen, possibly. But it'll be by no doing of the team or the manager or the system. It'll just happen by accident.
Right.
And we've just been so lucky this season that it's happened by accident quite a few times and we've got a few points.
See,
but that expires.
That terrifies me.
Yeah,
that does.
Absolutely terrified now that you said that you sit back, because that is something that we cannot break down as a team. This is basically slag your own team off podcast, isn't it? Yeah. We cannot break down teams that sit behind the ball. We need a team to come out and attack us. And I've said for ages that we need an early goal, but we've had an early goal in the last two and we've lost. So I don't know what we do now. So shit.
Yeah, I can promise you that Newcastle will not come at you at all. Not at all.
That's what I'm going for, Adonis.
Yeah. This is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
The problem we have with that though is that we're actually not very good at defending. So
all right, cool. That's fine.
I think you'll win and it'll be a disgusting game of football.
How are you at set pieces?
We haven't
big lads at the back.
We haven't conceded many from set pieces. I think we actually do all right defensively. We haven't scored many from set pieces either.
We'll take that. Okay, things are starting to get better.
Yeah, I'm feeling positive already. Cheers, Micky.
So what's happening with Mike Ashley and Sports Direct and all of that? And because that's an issue, isn't it? I thought you were getting bought out, but then you had a similar thing to us, which is Toma. Do you have Toma?
I don't know what Toma is.
That's what take over my arse. So all the rumours that came over, that's basically what we used to say, is it take over my arse. We're not getting taken over.
Yeah, that's basically where we're at now as well. So this version of the takeover has been going on for at least almost a year now. And the same lady who's in charge of this consortium has previously tried to buy the club and it didn't work, and that was in 2017. We had the takeover rumours with this Bin Zayed group who are supposedly close to buying Derby, but it's now looking like that's going to fall through because they haven't got any money. For that, there's been a few others. But this most recent one was the one that seemed like it was going to come off. Everything was in place. The price had been agreed. There was, quotation marks, no red flags with the Premier League's owners and directors test. And then all of a sudden, loads of red flags appeared and it's off, and there's a whole host of rumours and possibilities about what's actually happened and supposed pressure from other Premier League clubs, Tottenham and Liverpool, two of the main ones. And we kind of poo-pooed that a bit when it all came out and thought, realistically, is that going to have an impact and is it going to happen? And then you see Project Big Picture come out and you think about the level of control that these clubs want to have on the league, and you think actually that's probably been true. They probably have been against the takeover and tried to do something about it. And here we are. That version of the takeover, whilst it hasn't been officially rejected, has effectively been rejected. And we're now in a position where supposedly the buyer still want to buy the club. The seller definitely still wants to sell the club, or at least he says he does, but they're not allowed. So what we're hoping in the Northeast is that the Saudis are smart enough to restructure the deal and make it so that the investment fund, which is described by them as a separate legal entity, but it's completely controlled by the Saudi state, so you can't really justify that.
Right.
If they restructure it and do it differently in the same way as what happened at Southampton, and they were going to be taken over by some similar vehicle, and it wasn't going to be allowed. So it's now just one bloke who's got given all the money basically to go and buy Southampton. If they do the same thing with Newcastle, then maybe it might go through. But I'm so sick of it. There was more rumours again come up on Twitter last night for like the 250th night in a row. Yeah. And I've just had enough. I just have completely had enough.
I do not miss those days at Leeds. I really do not miss that. Oh God,
it's shite, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can't help but get sucked in and get excited, and then you just let down again and again and again and again, and I keep falling for it.
And what you'll get is when you do finally get taken over, there will be a small core of people that will be like, "We shouldn't have got Mike Ashley. Shouldn't have sold us. You were better." you know, the things that Mike Ashley did for us, blah, blah, blah. And it's revisionist history. We've got the same about Chelino. As you know, Chelino did really well for us. It nearly collapsed the club.
Yeah.
So I've been saying that about you guys. You just need to get rid of that guy because he's not a football club owner with football at his forefront. It's just not what he wants. So a club like Newcastle should be in decent hands at least.
I remember
we would take anybody, like anyone in the whole world over Mike Ashley.
There were years and years and years where you never spent in the transfer market, but it does seem like you've bought a few players recently.
Yeah, we have. You know, this transfer window was good, but it sort of doesn't count because the last few have been so shit. You know, the one I always look back on is the season we finished 5th under Alan Podgy was a miracle season, and we qualified for the Europa League. We still had a chance at Champions League on the last day of the season. And that transfer window, we spend a little bit of money, and we can progress and we can challenge again the next season. And instead, we bought Vernon and Anita, who came to you guys and played right back.
It was fantastic for us. Fuck me.
You know, what planet are they on doing that? What football person would think that that's a good idea? I think it was £6 million. Like, if nothing else, you're going into a European season where you're playing almost twice as many games. Well, not quite, but I'm exaggerating. But like, you're playing a lot more games. You need more bodies. So even if it was free transfers, like, get more people in. And we struggled that season massively with injuries and problems with not having enough players in the squad. And it was just like so obvious what was going to happen. And yet we're still just brought in Vernon. It's madness. And the same thing has happened like time after time since over the 13 years. We have like disaster transfer windows, and then they might do something about it the next time, which is what's happened this year. And you know, credit where it's due this year. We brought in good players. We brought in Wilson, who's class, score a hatful of goals for us. We've got Fraser on a free transfer, really good bit of business. We bought Jamal Lewis from Norwich. He's a good footballer. Other teams wanted to buy him, but like the last window was shocking. So you kind of split that in two, and then you're not actually looking at that good a window. So it's just a myth, and it's like it's easy, you know, it's easy from the outside to look in and think that's really positive for Newcastle, but without the context, without having to go through it constantly, you don't see that it's just papering over the cracks, which is all it's ever been.
Yeah. Oh dear. I mean, the only thing that I take from your squad list is that you've got a Brazilian that sounds like he works in an office in Slough. That's all I take. That's my football insight. My name's Joe Linton.
I'm not alone in thinking that there was something deeply suspicious about the Joe Linton deal as well, because
really?
£40 million for someone that nobody else wanted to buy and that kind of play football is, you know, it's dubious at best, isn't it? Like someone's had a bag full of money for me and that deal. Honestly, like it's the only explanation, because he's abysmal.
Is that to pay someone off or something? Mike Ashley's had an affair and can't let it get out.
It could be. I don't know who would go near Mike Ashley with a barge pole, even with all his money.
Like a store of Greggs. I think he's probably just bankrupted a Greggs and has gone like, right, if you don't buy Joe Linton, I'm going to tell the press about how many steak bakes you've eaten. That's how I ended up with Joe Linton.
Apparently, Mike Ashley does all of his business in the pub, and there's talks that there's rumours that he was like sick in a fireplace because he had too many pints at an actual proper serious business meeting. So that kind of sums him up, doesn't it? So there probably is some skeletons in his closet that we don't know about. So maybe that's what it was. We might have cracked it here on this podcast. It's all a big cover up. Joe Linton.
Joe Linton and the steak bake.
The most expensive hangover ever.
Yeah.
We've all been there, aren't we? Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll go out for dinner tomorrow. Oh, yeah, fantastic. It's like, oh, shit, I can't afford that. It's just the same, but it's Joe Linton.
Imagine waking up and realising you'd spent 40 million quid. It'd be a blow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. With no memory. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, that's kind of Newcastle United. Like, I've got nothing really positive to say. It is, I'm afraid, like it's shit.
I hope it gets better for you after your next game. Like, I feel really bad.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like, when you look at the points on the board, like, you know, it is positive. And I said on our podcast last night, like, if we win on Wednesday and we beat Fulham on Saturday and we beat Brentford in the cup quarter final on the following Tuesday or Wednesday, you have to then say that it's a good season, and the performances are kind of don't matter at that point.
Yeah.
But but they still do. Like, they still do.
Well, our manager would say that it's football has got nothing to do with performances, and it's almost like a bit of entertainment for the poor people who don't have much else going in their life, and so that Bielsa sees it as an obligation to create free-flowing, attacking, entertaining football.
Well, Ian, one of the questions I had for both of you, which I asked our guys last night, was whether you would swap places with us in terms of the points on the board and the style of football.
No. Nope. I'm quite happy where we are at the minute, and we've had a few bad results, but I'd rather watch the football that we're trying to play and stay safe in the Premier League this season than be as frustrated as you sound.
Yeah, I mean that's the caveat, isn't it? It depends whether it leads to relegation or not, which I don't think for you it will. I would swap because I am absolutely sick to death of watching Newcastle. Like, it's terrible. And watching Leeds this season has been brilliant. Like, especially especially for me, because for me it doesn't really matter what the result is. Like in the Leeds game, I just want to watch good football. So it's great to watch. It's great to watch us at the minute, but must be slightly different for you because the points haven't been stacking up like they should have.
Yeah, it's like two different experiences. If you're watching a game live, the tension doesn't allow you to enjoy the football as much. If you watch it the second time, especially, well, if we've won, if you watch it the second time round, which I normally do, you enjoy it a lot more. So that's probably how a neutral like yourself would see the game. But the tension of thinking we need the points on the board to stay up, that spoils a lot of it, especially now that we've lost a few in a row. But hopefully we can kick back with it now and start going.
Steve Bruce's mags will help you out with that one, like, and just get a win.
So we've got a knock at the door, and it's Ollie Vix from Andy's Man Club. Oliver, how are you going today?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Busy. It's been another long day in the office, but got to keep going, keep doing what we're doing. So it's all for the good cause.
So, Micky, maybe you could preface this interview with just telling us a little bit about Martin Lorimer and what happened and why we've invited Ollie onto the podcast.
Yeah, it was a pretty horrible story from Newcastle social media this week. A Newcastle fan had tweeted earlier in the week suggesting that he may be about to do something terrible. That night he was found. There was a massive campaign from Newcastle fans, former players, the club themselves, to credit to them. We have someone from the Newcastle Foundation called the Be a Game Changer campaign, which is a campaign to promote better men's mental health, which has been really effective. And all of these people had kind of rallied round to try and find Martin, and somebody did that night. But a few days later, we got the terrible news that he'd, I believe, although I'm not certain, so don't quote me on this, but I believe it had taken his own life. It's just horrendous, desperately sad time.
Okay, and if you do urgently need to talk to someone, there's the Samaritans, which is 116123. Is that correct, Ollie?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. There are a number of services out there that you can seek immediate help from. You can speak to your local crisis team, or like I say, you can speak to the Samaritans, and it is 116123.
Okay, so in light of that, we thought we'd invite Ollie on from Andy's Man Club. And Ollie, if you could tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how can people get involved.
So Andy's Man Club is a charity, a suicide prevention charity. We work with men over the age of 18. We run peer-to-peer support groups on a weekly basis across 35 locations across the country. We're constantly trying to grow that network and reach out to more men. But it's a really simple, really easy format. Basically, we just get guys together to sit down. There's no counsellors involved. There's no sort of professionals involved. It's just a pure peer-to-peer support group where guys can go and talk about anything that might be bothering them, get anything off the chest, talk about any feelings that they might not want to talk about at home or in the workplace, in a secure, non-judgmental environment with like-minded people.
Great. And what would you say to somebody who is maybe hesitant about going, but feels like that maybe they could benefit from it?
Every man that's in the room has been in that same position. They've all been stood outside wondering whether they should go in or not. and they all know how difficult it is to take that step, to walk across that threshold for the first time. And I can guarantee that whichever one of the clubs you go to, you will be welcomed with open arms, and they'll make that transition as easy as possible for you. If you are in a situation where you feel like you need to reach out, or you feel like you're bottling things up, it's imperative that you do talk to somebody, whether it's coming to Andy's Man Club, whether it's going to speak to your GP or Samaritans or anybody. But the more you bottle these things up, the worse they're going to get. It's once you start talking about your issues or your mental health or whatever it might be that you want to get off your chest, I think you'll be surprised at just how naturally it comes to you and just how easy it can be given the right platform.
Yeah, I think it's really important to try and remember when people are in your darkest moments that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Absolutely.
And talking it through and speaking with people, you'll realise that the problem that you think is unsurmountable is something that you can get around, and there's ways that you can get over it. And it's not, there's no magical cure, there's no thing that's going to make you feel fantastic in seconds and things like that, but talking it out will help you, give you them tools to get past that feeling. And it's just not something that people should consider really. But things like Andy's Man Club, Samaritans, Calm, and all things like that are all things that are all there to help. So if you do feel you want to talk, reach out.
I think on the back of that, one of the main symptoms of depression and feeling suicidal is that you feel very isolated. You feel like you're on your own with these thoughts, and it's quite eye-opening if you go to somewhere like Andy's Man Club or another sort of peer-to-peer support group to sit and talk to other people who feel the same. It makes you realise that you're not on your own, and that you're not the only one going through these sort of problems, and that everybody's, we're all human beings. We've all got problems and emotions that we need to deal with. And that was one of the things that helped me when I first came down to Andy's Man Club, just knowing that there were like-minded people that were also going through similar things that I could talk to, and they wouldn't judge me. They'd understand how I was feeling. And it really helped me along my road to recovery.
Micky?
Well, I know the Be a Game Changer campaign in Newcastle sounds like it's quite a similar thing, and it encourages a lot of kind of similar events. I think the most recent one that I've seen was the quite a few of the lads that were in that program met up for a game of football at the weekend, which I just thought was brilliant. It's such a smart way of getting blokes to talk to each other, which we all know it doesn't happen that often, and definitely doesn't happen often enough. So it's great to hear that there's something similar going on down your way as well. I hope it's really effective.
Yeah, I think Andy mentioned on our show yesterday that there's five-a-side happening in the Leeds Andy's Man Club, so that's really good. I think that's a really good way of getting out some pent-up frustration, even though it might be somebody's ankles, could be. But yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few injuries in those five-side sessions.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. It's not just a session on a Monday night. Once you come down to the session, you become part of a community. And those lads then, they do meet up outside of the Monday night sessions and go on walks, go meet up for coffees. I know of mountain biking groups, football groups, guys that go out running together. There's all sorts of things for the guys to get involved in once they make that step and come through the door and join the network, so to speak. We are looking at opening a club up in Newcastle. I've got a couple of guys ready to run it. We just need a venue, and obviously with lockdown and everything like that, it's been a struggle getting in touch with places, and growing that network and building that community up there. Like I say, we've the closest one at the moment, I believe, is Sunderland, but we've got some guys that travel from Newcastle down to Sunderland to go to the club. So we'll be with Newcastle in the very near future as well.
So if there's any Newcastle fans listening, just to see what these dirty Leeds fans think about their football club, but you have access to a venue that you might be able to help, get in touch and might be able to sort something out.
Yeah, I guess, Micky, you could put that call out on your pod as well if we use this same interview. And yeah, maybe there's a venue out there for Andy's Man Club. Okay.
I'll ask about for sure. I was going to boo there when he said Sunderland, but it didn't feel appropriate.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to ask Newcastle fans to go to Sunderland? But
just know that like internally I booed the word Sunderland just for the record.
For the record, yeah.
It's been nothing.
The first and only time you're unable to boo Sunderland, and
I'll make up for it next time. I'll boo twice.
Just keep those veins intact. No need to bust them and grit your teeth too hard. Okay, Ollie, and where can people get in touch with Andy's Man Club?
If anybody wants any information about how to join either the session or refer anybody or anything that they wanted to do regarding Andy's Man Club, you just need to drop us an email at info@andysmanclub.co.uk.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, we'll have to get on with the rest of the wretch. There's another Freudian fucking slip there. The rest of this match preview. But thanks so much for coming on. And any final thoughts?
Just thanks for having me, guys. It's always important to reach as many people as we can. Talking about suicide and talking about the work that we do. We might not reach the person that needs help, but we might reach the people close to them. So the more we talk about it, the more likely we are to reach that one man that needs help. So thank you very much for having me, guys.
Yep, no worries. Thanks, Colin.
Cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ollie. You're doing great work.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Okay, that was Ollie. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good. We need to get that club in Newcastle, I think, because like we said, asking Newcastle fans to travel to Sunderland is just not good enough.
Unacceptable.
No, we need to sort that out. So please get in touch if you got a venue. We'll point you in the right direction. It'd be great.
Mind you haven't been to Sunderland for a while, so.
Yeah, no needs. I mean, to be fair, the last few times we've been down there have been terrible. We keep getting beat. But we did have the pleasure of playing them in the I don't know what it's called now, but I don't even know what it is. The trophy where League One and below play their full team, and then the Premier League send them under 23s, and we played them at
the FA Trophy. Is it something like that?
One of those.
The Papa Johnson's paint.
I think it might be the Papa Johns now. So we took like 4,500 away fans down to watch our under 23s play their first team in a competitive game, which was just an absolute delight. I went down; it was great. We lost comfortably, but it's neither here nor there, is it? Like it's humiliating for them to have to play our under 23s in a proper game.
We played them just as they'd come down from the Premier League and went up with Thomas Christensen's Leeds, with the Samu Sai's and Alioski's first sort of games, and we absolutely dicked them. And they were really cocky about it. They were like, "Oh yeah, with Premier League, we're gonna beat you guys easily." It's like, yeah, that was interesting. And then they've just been in free fall ever since. So I think that we were responsible for that.
Hilariously as well, the entire thing has been filmed, and put out on a hit TV show. Like, what more can you ask for your greatest rivals to like have the best collapse in football history and have it entirely documented from the fans and the players and the owners? Like, all of it is available to watch for £8 a month. Like, it's perfect. Yeah. Well, honestly, what more could you ask?
I mean, we have had that same experience where our whole downfall in the season where we should have gone up was filmed and documented for Amazon. But luckily, they had a second season. So.
Imagine that, and then the second season goes.
It's going down even worse.
That's what happened. Like, it's just perfect.
Nightmarish. Okay, I believe it was. So now is the time for everyone's favorite time of the match preview podcast, where
Alex fucks up.
We get some predictions going. There is a league table. It was 10-9. But there have been some, since the new rules came in, where you get minus points for naming goal scorers who didn't score. Alex came up with the -3, a healthy -3. And our opposition podcaster came up with a -2. So some quick maths tells me that it's 8-6.
Shit. Okay, I need to get this one right, don't I?
Yes. So Micky, just for you, 1 point for a correct guess of a win, draw, or loss. 2 extra points for the correct scoreline. And you get a point each for goal scorers, but you get minus points if they don't score.
Right, so I'm going to go for it then. Obviously, I'm going to predict Newcastle to win 2-1. Wilson, Joe Linton, and Bamford, 3 goal scorers. I'll be to be honest, if that's right, I'll be annoyed because I'm not going to bet on it, and that would be worth a fortune.
I'll put it on.
I'll have to bet on it. I'll have to bet on it now. Yeah. We saw today, actually, just as an aside, we saw odds of Newcastle of 3-1 to win this game, which I think are kind of decent odds.
I've got no idea about betting, so I'm ashamed to say. Well, I'm not ashamed to say. I'm proud to say I have no idea what that means.
But £1 on, you'll get £3 back.
Okay.
Extra stake.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'd place that bet with our run of form.
Yeah, definitely.
Small face.
Thanks.
Well, it's an improvement on Elf Dick.
Yeah, to be fair. What am I going to go with? I reckon I'm going to go with a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And I think it's going to be Bamford to score for us. I'm not going to go for Newcastle scorer because...
It's only Wilson, mate. It could only be Wilson.
No, because then you get points, you see. I
had Bamford as well.
Yeah. Oh, good shot. Yeah, Wilson. Because then that'll work. Yeah.
If I was playing, is Lascelles fit?
I think they haven't confirmed, but I think he's one of the players that is out with the virus, and he's not been in training. So I don't think so. I don't think he's going to play. It'll be Clark and Fernandez at the back for us.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, he would have been nailed on for a header, towering header in the corner, one of the many corners. We would have pitted him against, let's say, Jamie Shackleton, who's basically a hobbit, 4 foot.
It's almost like since Verne Troyer came to look around the club, we've played as if we're his height. We had this weird situation for you, Micky, where Verne Troyer turned up and he was just riding around the East End concourse in his mobility scooter and just turned up on social media with a picture of him in a Leeds shirt. No explanation why. He wasn't over for a promotional trip. It's never been explained why Verne Troyer was at the club. So
that's bizarre. I've got a lot of time for that though. That's really good, Patter.
You got any famous fans or odd occurrences?
I mean, I kind of beat that. Like, don't worry.
Verne Troyer doing donuts in the staff car park.
I'd love to know why. Why?
Chileno, there was lots of things that you'd say why to. Like, why did you put a tax on the South Stand to charge for a pie and a pint just because you wanted to? So, yeah. Why were you looking for cameras in the boardroom because people were trying to catch you doing cocaine? Yeah, there's a lot of answers that never came with Chileno, and hopefully somebody will write a book at some point, but it won't be Beast and Dave, will it? We'll never know.
Oh dear.
Hang on. So Callum Wilson and Patrick Bamford both to score. Sky Bet odds is boosted. Other betting companies are available. 7-1. It's decent, that. I would get on that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yep. Rafinha to score from out of the area, 20-1. Oof.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
I really like him.
We've done really well to get him. I mean, I think in sprints he's second in the table. I think so far. I think he's unreal. I mean, the way that he's slotted himself into the team is really good. So he's the one to watch, I think. But yeah, I might spiral further into my profit and loss for Sky Bet later on.
So our records versus opponents since the Premier League started, more than 20 games played. So the only teams that we have worse records against are Manchester United and Liverpool. So, yeah.
I'll take that.
0.9 of a point per game we're on against you guys.
The R rate is 0.9.
Yeah.
But we're still
we aren't really anyone's bogey team, so that's that's good.
There you
I
go.
didn't know
Definitely
that.
have been ours in the past years. Definitely, I remember in the Premiership days. Definitely were. So
12 losses. Yeah. So the R rate is 0.5 and the tier level is fucking shit. Seems like the last time we beat you was 2002 at St. James's
really?
Park.
remember them
Fucking
halcyon
hell.
days. Halcyon days. It was before coronavirus, before the internet had broadband.
So it was 2-0 to
Take me
Leeds.
back.
2-0 to Leeds. Can you guess the scorers?
2002,
Mm-hmm.
Paducah Smith.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ha! Well, there you can.
Can you name
Quite chuffed for that.
Can you name the ex-Leeds and Newcastle player who was substituted after 67 minutes?
Speed.
Yep.
Yep. But it won't be Batty, would he? He'd be busy fighting. So. Yeah.
Well done. So yeah, Craig Bellamy came on for Gary Speed.
I loved him in Muse.
Hugo Viana coming on for Shola Amiobi. Andy Griffin came on for Andy O'Brien, and Eirik Bakker replaced Mark Viduka. So there you go.
What a player Bakker was.
And it was Terry Venables versus Bobby Robson.
Fucking hell. Really good manager versus Terry Venables. I don't know how he was so shit for us, though. I mean, he should have been a decent manager, but he just wasn't given any backing whatsoever. It's like, oh, welcome, Terry. Here's his war chest. It's crunchy. Somebody's eating the crunchy. We've not got any money. That's pretty much what it was.
Kind of the first one, wasn't it? Where previous managers are just like totally melodious.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times since with other clubs, but Leeds were the first one that just like chucked all their money at one go.
Yeah.
And then afterwards they're like, fucking hell, we're snookered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our issue was getting loans very high very high interest rates for players who never even played, like Seth Johnson.
Yeah.
So we got a loan to pay for the 9 million, and then that ended up spiraling to 30 million with the interest rates.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And Seth Johnson, I mean, he never even barely kicked a ball for 2 years.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. There's some lessons to be learned from that period of Leeds, definitely.
But it was,
You know, the one
wasn't Peter Risdale's fault, because he left, he resigned or whatever. But if he'd have stayed on, we never would have got relegated.
Oh, no, he didn't go on to do exactly the same thing for other clubs, did he? At all? No, not at all.
It's the one thing you can't say about Mike Ashley. Like, our finances are pretty good. You know, we're not particularly good at marketing ourselves, and we don't bring in as much commercial revenue as we should. But we aren't any debt. Like, we're not doing anything mental like that. We get paid for all of our transfers up front. We don't sell anyone on. We pay for all of our transfers up front. We don't buy anyone on pay later deals. We tend to let other clubs pay us more slowly because we can charge them more. So we're almost like the money lender in this. Like, it's turned us into a football bank almost, which is absurd. But it shows you've got to give a little bit of credit where it's due. Like, we're probably in the best position out of anyone in the league with what's going on at the minute and the reduction in revenues and income. Like, I think Newcastle will be all right.
Which makes you a good candidate for a takeover. If it's allowed to go through at any point. So yeah, it's good.
If Mike actually lowers his price.
Yeah.
So last
The price is agreed, mate. Price is agreed. It's not the price. It's the Premier League are not letting it through.
Yeah, but that's the owner. So then you've got to get another owner, and I'm just wondering how many people are
have 350 million quid.
Yeah, are going to meet that
problem.
particular asking price. I mean, we cost 45 million essentially. I mean, obviously there was a lot of investment after that, but we're not in a dissimilar position to you guys. So I don't see how he gets to that asking price. I know he wants to make money. He's wanted to make money off yous every year, hasn't he? Every year he's earned it. So anyway, last win for Newcastle was at Ellen Road. It was 2016. You won 2-0. Can you name the scorers? 2016?
2016.
Championship, wasn't it?
It was.
Nah, I can't name a striker.
There was one player who scored quite a lot of goals for you.
I honestly can't remember. I was going to say Dwight Gale, but I don't even think we had him by then.
Dwight Gale, 2 goals.
Was it?
Yep.
Oh, well, like that.
And
I thought I could remember him shushing the crowd, but 2016, I didn't think he'd been here 4 years.
Probably about right. Yeah.
And for his second goal, he was assisted by someone we've already talked about on the show earlier.
Mike Ashley?
Newcastle player.
Yes, and an ex-Leeds player.
I don't know. I've blocked it out of my mind.
Yes, and with good reason, because it was Vernon and Anita.
Oh, for God's sake.
How was it?
That pigeon-chested. Yeah.
That's all we ever did. That's how we scouted him. We thought, oh, see, who gave the assist to Dwight Gale, that second one? We need to get him in.
One of my most subtle ever jokes was including Vernon and Anita, because he was so small. I shopped him into the kids kit because we were sponsored by 32 Red. He had the Utilita sponsor on it. So I photoshopped it so it looked legit. Put it on Twitter. It's like, nobody got the joke. He's wearing a kid's kit. That's the joke. He's like, why is he wearing Utilita? He's got the wrong sponsor on. Just Photoshop people's faces small. That's the line, really. But the one Newcastle memory I've got is a pre-season friendly. I can't remember when it was, but Ross McCormack was playing for us, and I think it was his first couple of seasons. The Newcastle fans were just singing 44 is fat as fuck. And then there was this, because you guys had all of the south stand and we were in the west stand at this time, and I don't think they opened the east, so there was a corner where the fans were close to each other, and there was this poor ginger kid who was sat on his own, and he was giving it large to the Leeds fans and stuff, and Newcastle had gone ahead, so we were a little bit quiet, and then we went ahead again, and this poor ginger kid, if you're out there, mate, and you're still struggling after that abuse, please give me a ring and I'll apologise. But that poor kid took some hammer from Leeds fans. It's like he was all proud and everything like that, and he was sticking the V's up and calling everybody's mother everything, and then he sat down and looked like we were going to cry when we were 2-1 up. So, yeah, learn your lesson.
So, final thing on that game. In a desperate attempt to get back into the match, Gary Monk brought on Hadi Sakho and Marcus Antonsen. And just to give you an idea of the gap between the squads, Alexander Mitrovic came on for you guys for Dwight Gale in the 79th minute.
Slightly different firepower levels there, I think. But Hadi Sakho was substituted for a chicken, and the chicken got a crossing. God, he was so frustrating as a player. He had so much pace and decent feet, decent bit turn of skill and stuff like that. And he'd get to the byline, it's like, I don't know what to do now. Do I shoot? Yeah, gonna. And that's it. That's all he ever did. 65 million release clause apparently he had. And then
I've never heard of him.
Well, exactly. That's exactly how good he is. His hashtag was #SquareItHadi, because he didn't know how to play a square ball. It got into a position where there were Chris Wood waiting for the ball to be squared to him, just like, shoot. So frustrating. What's he doing now? Where is Sakho? Do we know? No, I'm going to have to look this up. What is he playing for?
Are you doing it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see where he is.
Okay.
Hadi Sakho he's in Turkey. Denizlispor.
Okay, that's so perfect. That's such a perfect place for him to be.
Yeah. He's a number 9 though. They're playing him as a number 9. He's had 26 appearances and he's got 3 goals. He went on loan from us to Las Palmas, where he had 5 appearances with 0 goals. And then he went to another, I think it's a Turkish club. I can't pronounce it. I don't want to murder it. He had 15 appearances and 3 goals. And he's been there. He's been at Denizlispor since 2019. And yeah, gone down the toilet. So, yeah.
65 million release clause.
Yep, that's it.
Oh dear.
Super League side. And that's it. The whole entry for his career at Denizlispor is on 16th of July 2019, Sakho joined Turkish Super League side, Denizlispor. He has lit that league up. Let's see where Vernon is.
You should change it. You should elaborate. Give him a really elaborate story, and then one day someone else will look him up.
It was discovered that Hadi Sakho was a spy for the Russians.
Yeah. Yeah. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
The likelihood is that no one's going to notice that for a while, and then someone might believe it's true.
That's it. Yeah, we do get that a lot. It's like, oh, we're interested in a player. It's like, oh, right, yeah, cool. It says on his Wikipedia that he's joining Leeds. It's like, you don't realise that anybody can change that. Oh, that's got to be true. It was on Wikipedia. Verne Troyer said that Newcastle was an experience he'll never forget. I'm sure you feel the same way, Micky.
Exactly the same. Yeah, 100%. I feel a bit sorry for him because he kind of gets blamed for that, and it's not his fault. He was the only one signed. You know, he wasn't particularly good, but we should have just signed more players.
So he is now at a club. I think it's a Dutch club. RKC Waalwijk, and he has played once.
When they were desperate.
Yeah. CSKA Sofia was his previous club where he played twice. And previous to that, he was on loan from us to Willem II, which was 27 appearances. So he is also setting his career is absolutely light. Let's not look for any more.
they had a bowel sickness rush through the team like a bushfire, and so they had to call up Vernon. And
God, what are we going to do for left back? Right, tea lady. Oh no, okay. But it's a prosthetic. It'll stay on when you run. Oh, maybe not.
What about the lad who does the ground? Didn't he have somebody? His son or something? His cousin? No.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it!
Dave.
Just get Vernon then. Fuck it.
Fuck it. We're gonna have to do Vernon, I reckon.
Oh dear. Okay, so let's round this up then. Micky, final thoughts on the game?
Like I say, I think it's going to be a terrible game of football. Newcastle exclusively participate in terrible games of football under Steve Bruce. I hope we win, but I don't think we will. I know I predicted 2-1, but obviously you have to predict Newcastle to win.
That's not in the rules, no?
Yeah, maybe it's just my rule, but I can't predict Newcastle to lose. I never do against anyone. It's a rule.
I think my final thoughts is I just want to see a performance from Leeds. I just want to see us get that fluency back that we've had in the early part of the season, string more than 3 passes together in a triangle, and I will be happy. I don't really care what the result is. If we see a decent performance and we lose, I'm not that bothered. I would like 3 points, but I'd rather see us start to improve again. And because Christmas is always shit for Leeds, always has been. Historically, we always have a shit period of form. So let's get 3 points on the board, have a decent performance, and then go and get pissed. And then we'll be in tier 2 for Burnley. So 2,000 of us can go and watch us get absolutely hammered. That'd be great, won't it? We'll all feel fantastic.
There was one Christmas Eve in 1995, and I believe it's the only game we've ever played on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
That went well.
That went really well. That went really, really well. We queued up for tickets for that. For the day before, and the queue was like 3/4 of the way around Ellen Road.
Wow.
And we were there for about 3 or 4 hours. I had to take a sandwich break. I had to go over to the cafe to get my mum and my brother sandwiches. And we got that, and that's the best Christmas Eve present I've ever had. Watching us beat the Scum 3-1. It was great. So, yeah, we'll have a repeat of that. For that, please.
Yes, a repeat of that. A very happy Christmas it would be. Okay. Let's wrap this up, though. So if you'd like to subscribe to us, then you'll get a little notification from your podcast player when our new podcast comes around, and then you can listen to it. Every single one of them. Because we have to do them. So at least one other person can suffer through it. My name's Adonis. You know me from @TheAdelites on Twitter, and it's a very goodbye from me. And it's a very goodbye from our resident elf, Dick, small face, Riot Badger.
So it's at elfdick.riotbadger.com. And subscribe to my OnlyFans where you will see my elf dick.
Sounds pretty good, to be fair.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly.
Boughs of pubes.
I'm disgusting myself with my own image now. Thanks.
I am curious to see what elf dick is, though. Anyway, and
I reckon you get some subscribers. People would be curious.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah. And it's a very goodbye from Micky. Which podcast are you from? I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. It's True Faith, isn't it?
True Faith, yeah, True Faith. Newcastle podcast. Thanks for having me, though. Been a good show.
Cheers. Thanks for coming, mate.
Thanks, Micky. I never know how to end these. Leeds, come on, Leeds! Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. You should probably give them a follow as they're more interesting than us. A very special thanks to Adam Warner, Barney Stuart, Cookie, Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's on your mind. I should have said no, but I did.